I'm going to try FPV with a little Cub S again, and having had no success trying to, limited success anyway, trying to run the FPV camera off the same battery as the plane, because it basically, I barely got 3.5 minutes flight like that. So I've got the FPV camera now running off its own separate little battery, so I'm going to run the plane off one thing and the FPV off another, and hope that that will give us, the plane should have a sensible flight time so long as it doesn't have a problem with the weight. Okay, now we're not on the right channel, so we'll scan. I could also try pressing the little button on the camera to change the camera to try and align it, but I'm doing it the other way. I'm trying to scan. First, last words. The camera is on, isn't it? Yes, there we go. There we go. So we got a lock. Have little faith that DVR will be working. It seems like you end up having to turn it on and off again. Oh, it is working. Who knows? So I don't know how that works. But so the DVR is locked. Since the DVR is locked, I guess we might as well try and start the DVR recording. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So the DVR is recording, and then we'll put those back in cam mode. Okay. So now we'll put a battery into the plane. A battery to power the plane. But now this is only going to power the plane rather than mucking around trying to power both the plane and the FPV camera, which seems too much for these small batteries. This is a 250 milliampere MCPX battery. So it should have plenty of power to power the plane. And the plane is twitching to say that it is bound, so that looks good. Okay. I'm going to try and put the plane on a little plastic runner on the runway, because it probably would not take off on the grass. The wheels are big enough. I mean, I've got the same wheels on the Champ S Plus, and that takes off fine from the grass, but of course the Champ S Plus has got way more power in the engine than this one being a 2-cell and whatever, a brushless 2-cell. This is just a little brushed 1-cell, and it's got so little power it just can't move itself in the grass. So now I'm going to try and put the goggles on, which I always worry, because I've done it before, about unplugging the battery when I do this. Okay. Oops, that's so annoying. I have to get a new hat. The strap on this blithering hat keeps coming, despite my attempts to prevent it doing so. The snaps on the back keep coming undone, then it won't stay on my head. Okay. And we'll have the controller. And we'll try not to trip over our feet wearing all this stuff. Okay. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so we'll see what we can do here. Yeah, well, we're airborne. Fairly sunny this morning, which is a mixed blessing. Means you can see well when you're flying away from the sun, but trying to see much when you're flying towards the sun is, on the other hand, is a bit of a devil. You don't see much, everything's just too high contrast. You just see more or less a white sky and a dark ground and not much detail. Now, I don't know what sort of flight time we're going to get here, but we should get, we should get the flight time that the battery gives the plane, I guess, Oops. Little bit of wind there, because I'm not giving this beam going to the left business is entirely because of wind blowing us to the left. See, I'm not I am not giving. I'm fighting to go to the right there, and the wind is blowing me to the left. It's a light little plane. Oh dear, and I'm losing my FPV feed as well. Which I don't want to do, because I would be in trouble if I completely lost it. I mean, not horrible, horrible trouble. It's a light little plane. I could probably... Yeah, but then I'd have to, you know, I'd have to switch quickly. That's me down there. What did she say? Should be listening, because I need to be listening, because that's my feedback on my time. Well, I mean, the problem is, when I, for some reason, maybe if I turn, that helps. See, if I turn my head towards where the plane's over on the right. If I turn my head over towards where the plane is, that points the... Now, see, that's 4 minutes. I'm going to try and go pretty much to the time that this says to see if we can actually run to the timer, because I think it was only, what, 6 minutes we had it set to? Oh, that's the runner. I was wondering what that was on the runway, that white thing on the runner. The runway is the runner we took off from. Because I got 3.5 minutes before with the FPV running off the... See, if it's better when I'm going to my right if I turn my head to the right, because that points the patch antenna towards the plane. We seem to be losing altitude a bit there. Why are we losing altitude? We're not running out of power, are we? I don't know. Well, the problem is when you're flying the plane FPV, it's not easy to tell whether it's going to LVC, because, you know, you tell that more by the pulsing of the motor, which is more a sound thing. I don't think you'd see it in this turning of the propeller. Well, I can sort of hear it now, and I don't think it's going to LVC, low voltage cutoff. I mean, you know, I'm a bit concerned about running out of power. But the whole point is I wanted to see if I could fly longer than the 3.5 minutes I flew. Flying with the FPV and the plane off the same battery. We're off to our left here. And what that thing is in the field across the way, maybe a tractor. Can't make it out in this video, that's my car there. And me and the tables and whatever. Oh, we seem to have gained altitude again now, I don't know. But we seem to be... Oh, well, 2 minutes. So we need to be thinking about our strategy for landing fairly soon. There's definitely some wind. You can see I'm going somewhat upwind now. I'm not moving very fast. Oh, turn my head towards the plane. Well, even turning my head towards the plane, I seem to be losing it. Should be turning my head towards the plane now. I don't know. I seem to lose feed much more on my right than on my left. I don't quite see why. Maybe it's something to do with the patch antennas on the right and the multi-directionals on the left. I don't know whether that's got to do with it, whether they're interfering with each other. Yes, could be that. It could be that I'm using the multi-directional more and the patch is interfering with the multi-directional when the plane's on the right of me. I'm just guessing. I don't know. Really? Yes, you know, so we should think of coming back to land now. Which is sort of why I was circling up there, because I was thinking of coming back to land. The wind is trying to blow us to the south. Oh, it bloody well is. The wind is getting up from the north and trying to blow us off to the south here. You know, I'm trying to hold the plane on the runway, and the wind keeps trying to blow it off. There we go. There we go. We're upside down. Whoa, really feels as if you're turning upside down yourself when that happens to the FPV. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't react too quickly here because, because oh dear. See, I've also got the pockets of my jacket hooked into the I think I'm going to have to take I'm going to have to go and take the goggles off before I try and muck around retrieving the plane. It's just too difficult. Whoops. Oh, God. And the hat sort of got stuck to the goggles. It's a tricky business. Ugh. Okay, well, I was not even trying to land on the runner. I don't think I could land this plane on the runner flying visually. I was going to say, let alone FPV. I suppose in some ways FPV might make it easier to land on the runner, but... Okay. Well, one thing about it is it's not terribly wet today. Mind you, it's always wet. It's not terribly wet, not compared to some mornings. It's fairly dry, but it's still fairly wet. It's always wet in the morning. There you go. Anyway, I would say that went quite well on the whole. And we flew for exactly 5.5 minutes. We're just on the 30 seconds here. Okay. So let me switch the goggles back to DVR mode. We recorded just 10 minutes of video on the goggles. So we'll stop that and give it a chance to save its file. And we'll disconnect some batteries. The DVR stopped, so yes, I guess we can disconnect that. It'd be interesting to see how much how much voltage there is left in this battery. That's a Lectron 180 milliamp hour that was just powering the FPV camera. Clearly this way of powering the FPV camera with a separate battery from the flight battery is clearly much superior. I feel, you're just much happier with it because you're not got all your eggs in one basket, as it were. Should have powered that propeller up after I stopped it just to throw the water off it, because it does have water on it. Okay, it's the little adapter to allow the MCPX battery to connect to that micro connector. And we'll check. Well, I can't check till I get home. I don't have a checker that can check one cell batteries, so I can't check till I get home what those batteries are at. When I put them on the little high-tech battery charger, it'll tell me how much power there is left in those. And that can go off. And I should think these can go off now. Yes, they've got no feed anyway, and they've had time to save their video file, hopefully. One time I forgot and didn't turn them off at all till I got home. And they were still running. I'm not sure what the battery life on them is, but they must have been running for about an hour and a half then, and they were still running. Okay, so, well, that, I can't check the battery times till I get home. That seems to have been reasonably successful.